Good evening to you. We were we were starting parliamentary committees uh, without notes. Now we'll continue with that. One by one, people are joining now. Parliamentary committees. The work done by Parliament in modern times is not only varied in nature, but considerable in volume. The time at its disposal is limited. It cannot, therefore, give close consideration to all legislative and other matters that come up before it. A good deal of its business is therefore transacted by what is called the parliamentary committees. तो इतना एक्सपर्टाइज भी नहीं है, इतना समय भी नहीं है इनके पास, पार्लियामेंट के पास. So the committee system has come to play. Ad hoc committees and standing committees. Parliamentary committees are of two kinds, ad hoc committees and standing committees. Ad hoc committees are appointed for a specific purpose and they cease to exist when they finish the task assigned to them and submit a report. जैसे एक बिल के बारे में एक committee होता है, that is ad hoc committee. And then the bill is referred to that committee, the report is submitted on that bill, then the committee's work is over, then it is wound up. The principal ad hoc committees are the select and joint committees on bills. Others like Railway Convention Committee, the Committee on Draft 5-Year Plans and the Hindi Equivalent Committee are appointed for specific purposes. Apart from the ad hoc committees, each House of Parliament has standing committees like the Business Advisory Committee, the Committee on Petitions, the Committee of Privileges, and the Rules Committee, etc. Some of the committees act as Parliament's watchdog over the executive. These are the Committees on Subordinate Legislation, the Committee on Government Assurances, and the Committee on Estimates. The Committee on Public Accounts, Committee on Public Undertakings, and departmentally related standing committees. The Committee on Estimates, the Committee on Public Accounts, the Committee on Public Undertakings, and departmental related standing committees play an important role in exercising a check over government expenditure and policy formation. Select and joint committees. These are ad hoc committees. When a bill comes up before a house for general discussion, it is open to that house to refer it to a select committee of the house or a joint committee of the two houses. A motion has to be moved and adopted to this effect in the house in which the bill comes up for consideration. In case the motion adopted is for reference of the bill to a joint committee, the decision is conveyed to the other house, requesting them to nominate members from that house to serve on the committee. The select or joint committee considers the bill clause by clause, just as the two houses do. Amendments can also be moved to various clauses by members of the committee. The committee can also take evidence of associations, public bodies, or experts who are interested in the bill. After the bill has thus been considered, the committee submits its report to the House. Members who do not agree with the majority report may append their minutes of dissent to the report. और ये सारा हम देख चुके हैं. When the bill becomes an act, उसमें ये committee कैसा form होता है, how the work is done, all these things we have seen. Whenever a bill is introduced, there are various types of motions. The minister who moves the bill may move a motion that the bill be taken up for consideration. At that time, somebody else may ask move a motion stating that the bill be referred to a select committee or joint committee, or it could be sent for public opinion. If that select committee motion is accepted, then the bill is sent there. It is considered clause by clause. They call witnesses, they call documents, They call experts for their advice. So all these things are possible. And once a particular stage comes, they can send a part report also. Till such time that part report is placed before the House, it is kept secret. Thereafter, it is open. Suppose one member or two members, they don't agree with the majority decision on the bill, they can send a dissent note of dissent. Parliamentary committee is a committee elected by the House or nominated by the Speaker. Some committees are elected committees, some committees are nominated. Most committees are nominated committees. Elected committees are only four. The finance committees, Public Accounts Committee, Estimates Committee, Committee on Public Undertaking, and Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe. That committee. These four committees are elected committee. Rest of them are nominated committees. It works under the direction of the Speaker, presents its report to the House or to the Speaker. The secretariat for it is provided by the Lok Sabha Secretary. Whatever the committee may be from one house or both the houses. It could be a joint committee or committee in Lok Sabha, committee in Rajya Sabha, whichever it is. The secretariat assistant, that is, uska secretarial काम जो भी है, to make a report, to take down dictation, make part reports, and the proceedings, etc., etc. All these things are looked after by Lok Sabha Secretariat. Finance committees and committee for the welfare of SC/ST are elected committees. Other committees are nominated committees. There are standing committees and ad hoc committees. Standing committee is elected or nominated every year or from time to time and is permanent committee and is a permanent committee, while ad hoc committees are constituted by the Speaker or Chairman for a specific purpose. In some committees, minister cannot be a member. Example, Public Accounts Committee, Estimates Committee, Committee on Public Undertaking, Committee on Subordinate Legislation, Committee on Government Assurances, Committee on Petitions. These are certain committees in which there could be criticism about the government. There could be watching over what is happening in the executive. So in such committees, ministers are prevented from becoming a member. More especially the financial committees. For one, committee on estimates. In my opinion, this should get precedence over the Public Accounts Committee because it tells you what to do in advance so that we can take necessary action before anything goes wrong. So estimates committee should get importance. The committee consists more than that. The strength of the committee is the largest, 30 members, and that 30 members you find in two more committees. Two more committees have the strength of 30 members, but in this committee, all the 30 members are from Lok Sabha. The committee consists of 30 members who are elected by the Lok Sabha every year from amongst the members. A minister is not eligible for election to this committee. Chairman is nominated and from among the members. If Deputy Speaker is a member, he is the chairman automatically. Once Deputy Speaker is also elected as member of the committee, then he is the chairman of that committee. The term of the committee is 1 year. All the financial committees, the term is 1 year. The main function of the committee on estimates is to report what economies, improvements in organization, efficiency, or administrative reform consistent with the policy underlying the estimates may be affected, and to suggest alternative policies in order to bring about efficiency and economy in administration. What sort of economy can be brought in through these estimates? So that advice, and in case they feel there could be a different policy in the place of existing policy, that also they can suggest. From time to time, the committee selects such the estimates pertaining to a ministry or group of ministries or the statutory and other government bodies as may seem fit to the committee. वो अपना काम खुद भी चुन सकता है. That is, they can select one ministry or group of ministries and study and advise on those committees. It may also suggest the form in which the estimates are to be prepared. Budget estimate कौन सा format में हो सकता है, whether there can be any change, that all these things, this committee is empowered to recommend. The committee also examines matters of special interest which may arise or come to light in the course of its work, or which are specifically referred to it by the House or the Speaker. Whenever a committee is appointed or a commission of inquiry is appointed, there is one important thing. You are going to draft a resolution. There is a format called a resolution for appointment of committees, commissions, etc., etc. In that, there is one second paragraph, that is terms of reference. Terms of reference. That is the actual work you want that committee or commission to do. So that terms of reference is very important. Likewise, whenever a committee, parliamentary committee is formed, what work they have to do, that is indicated by the House or the Speaker. That is outside that purview, outside the terms of reference, they can take up some other issues, additional issues also, in case such an issue crops up during their work. It may also suggest the form in which the estimates are to be prepared. The committee also examines matters of special interest which may arise or come to light in the course of its work, or which are specifically referred to it by the Speaker, by the House or the Speaker. The Committee on Public Accounts. This is also elected committee. The committee consists of 15 members elected from Lok Sabha and 7 members elected from Rajya Sabha. Chairman is appointed from among the members of the committee. If Deputy Speaker is a member, he will function as chairman. A minister is not eligible for election to this committee. The term of the committee is 1 year. Always remember, all these committees, the first paragraph is the same. It is an ad hoc committee. It is a standing committee. The Public Accounts Committee on Estimates. They are elected committees. They are elected for a period of 1 year, and the minister cannot be a member. And if Deputy Speaker is a member, he will be officiating as the chairman. The main duty of the committee is to ascertain which committee, Public Accounts Committee. The main duty of the committee is to ascertain whether the money granted by Parliament has been spent by government within the scope of the demand. Money kaisa sanction hota hai, budget mein demands for grant is there. That is the approval for or the demand of the ministries put forth through the Ministry of Finance. Itna paisa chahiye hame. That is the budget estimate, DFG. Once it is granted, thereafter appropriation bill is passed, money is drawn from the consolidated fund and spent. Pura saal, 1 full year. After it is spent, the accounts are audited by the C&AG and a report is submitted. And that report is the basic document for the Public Accounts Committee. So, what they will see whether the money granted by the Parliament or the Lok Sabha was used for the purpose for which it was sanctioned. जिस पर्पस के लिए ये सैंक्शन हुआ था पार्लियामेंट द्वारा, वो the money was spent for that purpose, or by mistake or wantonly that was spent on other purpose. The main duty of the committee is to ascertain whether the money granted by Parliament has been spent by government within the scope of the demand. The appropriation accounts of the Government of India and the audit reports presented by the Comptroller and Auditor General mainly form the basis for the examination of the committee. Audit report of the C&AG is the basis for their examination working. Case involving losses, negatory expenditure, and financial irregularities come in for severe criticism by the committee. जब भी गलत expenditure होता है, corruption होता है, So all these things will be severely criticized by this committee. But at the same time, so jo hona tha ho gaya. And now you are criticizing, it is just like firefighting work. Jo pahle, suppose something could be done. In that stage, only estimates committee is there, and this committee looks into whatever happened already. Cases involved, the committee is not concerned with questions of policy. Whereas estimates committee, they can suggest alternative policy, but PAC, they cannot suggest new policies. They will have to see whether the money granted by Parliament has been spent for the purpose for which it was sanctioned. It is concerned only with the execution of the policy laid down by Parliament and its results. It ensures high standards of financial propriety and also ensures economy. That is, economy जो नहीं हुआ था उसको point out करेंगे. Committee on Public Undertakings. Now the name has been changed to Public Sector Enterprises. The Committee on Public Undertaking consists of 15 elected members from Lok Sabha and 7 members elected from Rajya Sabha are associated with it. Chairman is appointed with the Speaker and among the members. A minister is not eligible for election to this committee. The term of office is 1 year. All the 3 committees, this is for only the number differs. The first committee, estimates committee, 30 members. The other 2 committees, so 15 plus 7, 15 plus 7. The functions of the Committee on Public Undertaking are: A, to examine the reports and accounts of public undertakings. To examine the reports, if any, of the Comptroller and Auditor General on public undertakings. To examine, in the context of autonomy and efficiency of public undertakings, whether the affairs of the public undertakings are being managed in accordance with sound business principles and prudent commercial practices. So these are all set up. Public undertaking is set up to do certain activities as we are a welfare government. So this may include some business activities, whether it was with proper business policies. So that has to be seen, and that is to be examined. Such other functions vested in the Committee on Public Undertakings and Committee on Estimates in relation to public are not covered by clauses ABC. जो काम estimates committee with regard to government business, public accounts committee with regard to government business, ये दोनों काम with regard to public undertaking, ये काम in capacity this committee has to do it. The committee does not, however, examine matters of major government policy and matters of day-to-day administration of the undertaking. Day-to-day business of the day-to-day activities of the business undertaking, public undertaking, वो भी नहीं करते हैं. Major policies of these public sector enterprises, that is also outside the purview. Committee on Welfare of SC/ST. The committee comprises of 30 elected members, 20 from Lok Sabha, 10 from Rajya Sabha. Chairman is nominated by the Speaker from among the members. Its term is 1 year. Ministers are not eligible to be elected to this committee. Functions: to consider all matters concerning the welfare of SC/ST falling under the purview of union government as well as union territories. इनका ambit में जो भी SC/ST के बारे में जो भी काम है, that is the concern of this committee. To examine the report of National Commission on SC/ST under Article 338 and suggest measures taken by the union government. The National Commission on SC/ST, the annually, every commission for that matter, every commission is expected to submit a report. That report has to be studied by this committee, parliamentary committee, to scrutinize the extent of implementation of various programs and to identify weak areas. Various program means various programs for the welfare of SC/ST. Would that only in announcement. A yojana, O yojana, all these yojanas are being carried out properly with regard to SC/ST. That is the committee's work. To examine the measures taken by union government to secure representation for SC/ST in public services. Government service ho or any other related service may reservation for SC/ST is also these people's concern. To examine, to report on the welfare programs of SC/ST in UTs. Union territory में जो भी welfare program relating to SC/ST, that is also to be reported by this committee. To examine such other matters as may deem fit to the committee or specifically referred to it by the House or the Speaker. कोई House, any other matter that may be entrusted by the House or the Speaker, that would also form part of their terms of reference. All the following committees are nominated committees. ये जो पहले हम देखे हैं 4 committees, they are elected committees. दो आगे जो भी जितना भी कमिटी आ रहा है ये सारा nominated committee. Business advisory committee. Actually, counts of business, what are the business, what are the activities that should be considered in the House, taken up in the House, that is decided. The item of work to be taken up in both the Houses of Parliament, one, and the time to be allotted for each item of business, that is to be decided by the Business Advisory Committee. वो और क्या करेंगे, how they function, that how the House, the Parliament House is represented the same way in a miniature form in the committee. That is, the BJP has 60% of members of the House. Here, the same percentage will be maintained in the PAC. So likewise, every section in the House will be represented in the committee. So whenever a discussion takes place and a decision is taken, that is always unanimous. That will be unanimous. So that once a time is decided in the BAC, that is not questioned. The Business Advisory Committee of Lok Sabha consists of 15 members, including Speaker, who is the ex officio chairman. This is automatic because he is going to chair the Lok Sabha there. So BAC, it is appropriate that he chairs the BAC also. So he is automatically, the Speaker is the chairman of the BAC. In Rajya Sabha, it is a 11-member committee and the vice president as the chairman of the committee. The members are nominated by the Speaker. Almost all sections of the House are represented on the committee as per the respective strength of parties in the House. The function of the committee is to recommend the time that should be allotted for discussion of such government, legislative, and other business as the Speaker, in consultation with the leader of the House, may direct to be referred to the committee. So, जो काम होना है House में, उसके बारे में, that which work should be taken, how much time to be allotted, that is decided here. The committee on its own initiative may also recommend. Committee को ये भी अधिकार है that some business which is not being considered or which is not taken up for consideration in the BAC, that item may be taken. A new item can be included to be considered in the House. The committee on its own initiative may also recommend to the government to bring forward particular subject for discussion in the House and recommend allocation of time for such discussions. The decision reached by the committee are always unanimous in character and representative of the collective view of the House. The committee generally meets at the beginning of each session and thereafter as and when necessary. Session शुरू होने से पहले बैठक होता है, then they decide for the entire session. So sometimes you need to change, you need to alter. That is done frequently meeting. Committee on private members' bills and resolutions. It automatically, it can be said, whatever government business to be introduced in the legislature, that is Lok Sabha में गवर्नमेंट बिजनेस जितना भी है उसको कौन सा बिजनेस कब ले आना है, कितना टाइम अलॉट करना है, That work is done by the BAC. The same work with regard to private member bills and private member resolutions, that is considered by this, that is decided by this Committee on Private Members Bills and Resolutions. This committee is constituted after each general election and thereafter on 1st June each year. We have to remember this. The committee consists of 15 members and the deputy speaker is its chairman when nominated as a member of the committee. The committee is nominated by the speaker. The functions of the committee are to allot time for examination of private member bills and resolutions. In case the bill seeks to amend the constitution, पहले देखे थे how a bill becomes an act, उसमें देखे थे private member bill relating to constitution amendment. ऐसा केस आने से उसको पहले this committee will examine that such a bill introduced by a private member to seeking to amend the constitution will have to go to this committee first. They will consider whether it is appropriate, whether it is in accordance with the constitution. ये दोनों देखकर उधर भेजेंगे, then इसका बाद इसको take up करेंगे उधर. All other private member bills, resolutions are taken up by the committee after they are introduced. Constitution amendment bill introduction से पहले ही ये committee से clearance होना चाहिए. All other business you can introduce in the house, but after they are taken up for consideration, this will be after they are admitted in the house, they will be sent before consideration. All other private member bills, resolutions are taken up by the committee after they are introduced, but before they are taken up for consideration in the house, and to classify them according to their nature, urgency, and importance. Council bill important hai, category A. Council bill can wait for some more time, category B. Aisa. The committee also examines those private member bills where the legislative competence of the house is challenged. Suppose a bill admission stage, no private member bill is objected. उसको introduction stage पर object नहीं करते हैं. Suppose some member objects to it, then he makes a statement and the member makes a statement, then it is cleared. Suppose the objection is with regard to the competence of parliament, then threadbare discussion takes place. The committee also examines those private member bills where the legislative competence of the house is challenged. The committee thus performs the same function in relation to private member bills and resolutions as the business advisory committee does in regard to government business. BAC deals with government business. Private member bills, committee on private member bills and resolutions, they deal with private member business. The committee holds office for a term not exceeding 1 year. The report should be submitted to the speaker. Then committee on subordinate legislation. This also we have seen. That is, whenever a law, whenever an act is made by the parliament, there is a provision within this act, enabling act. That act allows rule making by a subordinate authority, that is the executive. So main law is made by the legislature, but detailed rules are made by the executive. Thereafter, it is brought before this committee for examination. Thereafter, it is submitted to the parliament for consideration. The committee consists of 15 members nominated by the speaker. Chairman is appointed from among the members by the speaker. Minister is not nominated to the committee. The term is 1 year. Functions of the committee includes scrutinizing and reporting whether the powers to make regulations, rules or regulations or procedures or sub-rules or bylaws conferred to the subordinate authority by the constitution or by the act of the parliament have been exercised within such delegated powers. Special attention should be paid on the general principles, objects of the act, whether it authenticates, authorizes any expenditure from consolidated fund, whether there is any delay in making the rules, whether the rules are ambiguous, etc. Members from both the houses are represented in the ratio 2:1 at the discretion of the speaker. The committee will place the report on the table of the house for parliamentary scrutiny. Act is made, followed by that delegated legislation or subordinate legislation is made. That is what we know in the government office as rules. Rules are made, and rules once made by the executive, that is not implementable. They have to be sent to this committee for clearance. After this is cleared by this committee, it will go to the parliament for approval. एक्ट में कुछ होता है and this is going beyond that act, वो नहीं हो सकता है. That examination is done by this committee. Then committee on government assurances, as we have already seen, during the discussions, the speaker, deputy speaker, chairman of Rajya Sabha, and the ministers, they give some sort of assurance, or it will appear as assurance. Those assurances are culled out from the records of the parliament by the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, and they will be communicated to the concerned ministries. They will have to keep a record of that, and from the date it is communicated to them, they have to comply with the assurances within a period of maximum 3 months. And in case, then first thing, when the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry conveys this to an individual ministry, it is for them to accept or not to accept. They may say it is not at all an assurance. ये तो उनको समझाया था, उसमें don't go by the letters, so go by the spirit. So ये assurance माना नहीं जा सकता है. So ऐसा करके immediately you can return, but any such thing should be done under the approval of, with the approval of the minister. Then it is sent back to the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry. So we are not accepting it as an assurance. Suppose no such thing happens, it is accepted, then that has to be complied with within 3 months. अगर 3 महीना में कुछ assurance वो अपने आप comply नहीं कर पाएंगे, we will get the details from the state government, ऐसा बोलने से, then the state governments have to respond to them. So they may take their own time. So 3 महीना काफी नहीं होता है. In that case, the matter has to be taken up with their minister. Suppose it pertains to Home Ministry, Home Minister के पास put up करके 3 महीना खत्म होने से पहले put up करके उनका approval से Parliamentary Affairs Ministry को लिखना चाहिए that we need extension of time to comply with the assurance. The committee consists of 15 members nominated by the speaker. A minister is not, because it is a duty put on the minister. So minister खुद वो उधर committee में होगा तो committee cannot do their work impartially. So they cannot be. A minister is not nominated to this committee. While replying to questions in the house or during discussions on a bill, resolution, motion, etc., ministers at times give assurances or undertakings either to consider a matter or to take action or to furnish the house further information later. The functions of this committee are to scrutinize the assurances, promises, undertakings, etc. given by the ministers from time to time, and to report to Lok Sabha on the extent to which such assurances, etc. have been implemented, and to see whether such implementation has been has taken place within the minimum time necessary for the purpose. इसके थोड़ा सा कम है. We have got a detailed notes under the heading Parliamentary Assurance. Committee on Petitions. The Committee on Petitions. Actually, there is a sort of, what sort of petition? Petition government को होता है, ये क्यों पार्लियामेंट को? तो इसको देखने से ये नहीं petition, हम लोग भी पार्लियामेंट को लिख सकते हैं that हमारा एरिया में इतना प्रॉब्लम है, इसको ये करने से कुछ नहीं होता है. That has to be taken up with the concerned ministry. So parliament members should take cognizance of that. ऐसा करके the general public can send petitions. ऐसा petition तो related to central government business, related to local bodies, related to any other matter, miscellaneous petitions, ऐसा कोई भी petition उधर जा सकता है. All the petitions, whether it is exactly the concern of the committee or not, सब petition को इनके पास भेजा जाता है for their comments. The committee on petitions consists of 15 members nominated by the speaker. A minister cannot be nominated to be the member of the committee, and if a member after his nomination to the committee is appointed as a minister, पहले नॉमिनेट इस कमिटी में नॉमिनेट करने के समय वो सिंपल एमपी था, लेकिन later on he has been promoted, he has been appointed as minister. In that case he has to resign from this committee because no minister can be a member of this committee. The committee examines every petition presented to the house or referred to it. Besides, it also considers representations from individuals, associations, etc. on subjects which are not covered by the rules relating to petitions. Petition committee क्या consider करना है? That is mentioned in the rules of business for Lok Sabha, rules of business for Rajya Sabha. उसमें जो उनका ambit में नहीं आया, ऐसा petition को भी consider करना पड़ता है if it is referred by the committee, by the house. After examination, the committee may direct that it may be circulated either in extenso, that is elaborately, fully, in extenso, or in summary form. It is the duty of the committee to report to the House on the specific complaints made in the petitions referred to it after taking such evidence as it deems fit, and to suggest remedial measures either in a concrete form applicable to the case under review or to prevent such cases in future. Nowadays, petitions which are not otherwise admissible to be referred to the committee are also informally placed before the committee for consideration. जो भी exactly इनका काम यानी जो नहीं होता है, ऐसा भी जो भी petition आता है इनका committee में सौंप दिया जाता है. Then committee on privileges. Parliamentary members and parliamentary houses दोनों को privilege होता है. The extraordinary privilege, that is freedom to speak. So it is not the individual freedom under 19(1)(a) जो है, that freedom available to individuals, ऐसा freedom नहीं है. This is more than that. That the complete freedom, the whatever they do, whatever they speak within the house, that is not questioned in court of law. The details are available in JMM case. So Jharkhand Mukti Morcha case, that during Narasimha Rao period. So in that case, whatever said or done, then within the house, that is not questioned. So ऐसा privilege एक तो freedom of speech है. Another thing, any record of the parliament cannot be published without the express approval of the speaker or the Rajya Sabha chairman. इनका अप्रूवल के बिना कुछ भी रिकॉर्ड पार्लियामेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स के बारे में पब्लिश नहीं करवा, स्पेशली दोस रिलेटिंग टू सीक्रेट सेशन एटसेट्रा. अगर कुछ करेंगे तो प्रिविलेज होता है. whether a question is, whether an activity is, whether an action is a breach of privilege, that has to be decided by the house. एक प्रकाश सिंह versus I think UP Assembly. That case, that is a famous case on privilege. Those people wrote some nonsense, some journalists. They wrote some nonsense in their magazine, and they issued pamphlets condemning the activities or criticizing the activities of certain members of UP Assembly, and that was taken cognizance by the UP Assembly. Then summons were issued by the Speaker of UP Assembly to 3 persons. One editor of a magazine, that is Prakash Singh, and 2 other persons. So the 2 other persons, they appeared before the house and apologized. They were let off. But Prakash Singh did not come. He said, I don't have money. then the speaker ordered that that fellow should be arrested and brought before the house. He was arrested and brought before the house. And when when entering the house, the custom is to bow before this chair to as a mark of respect. This fellow अपना पीठ दिखाया था स्पीकर को, अनदर कंटेंट हो गया, and he was imprisoned. He was ordered to be imprisoned. So he was taken to prison, and some other lawyer filed a habeas corpus petition, and those people cancelled the orders of speaker, and the UP assembly unanimously took a decision that the lawyers who filed habeas corpus petition and the judges who issued orders were that they should be arrested and be brought before the UP assembly. So it reached a peak, and the next order may UP assembly ordered that all the some 20 and odd judges are there in the UP high court, ये सारा को अरेस्ट करके दे लियाओ, ऐसा करके एक ऑर्डर भेज दिया. Then suddenly everything was halted. The matter was taken up to the president, and the president referred the matter under Article 143 to the Supreme Court for advice. So this is a famous case with regard to privileges. So they can even go to the extent of getting people arrested, and they can impose fine that for breach of privilege. Whether it is a privilege, that has to be decided by the House. The members of Parliament are entitled to certain privileges and immunities to enable them to perform their responsibilities, duty effectively. All the matters related to Parliament and its members are entrusted to the committee or privileges. The committee consists of 15 members nominated by the Speaker. The Speaker may refer any question of privilege to the Committee on Privileges for examination, investigation, and report. The committee examines every question referred to it and determines, with reference to the facts of each case, whether a breach of privilege of the House, its members, or the members of any of the parliamentary committees is infringed, and if so, the nature of breach, the circumstances leading to it, and makes such recommendations as it deems fit. The report may also state the procedure to be followed by the House in giving effect to the recommendations made by the committee. So that is privilege committee. Then absence of members, 60 दिन attend नहीं किया है House, that report will go whether that should be condoned or that person to be condemned. ये इसका decide करेगा वो. Then rules committee, the rules of procedure अपना rule खुद बनाएगा. The Parliament will make rules governing their own procedures. That is, they will create rules to govern themselves. वो उसके बारे में committee on papers and laid on table, committee of empowerment of women, committee on MPLADS. These committees इसके बारे में आप पढ़ लेना. Some rules are there governing the committees, parliamentary committees. Following the rules of procedure for parliamentary committees, no member shall be appointed to any parliamentary committee if he is unwilling. कोई जबरदस्ती उसको member नहीं बना पाएगा. Then the quorum is Parliament House में quorum 1/10 of the total members. Here the quorum is 1/3. 1/3. 1/3 is then suppose 2 times if the committee is postponed for want of quorum. आज भी ऐसे हम भी सोच रहे थे ये quorum नहीं आया, so we will postpone the class, but later on some people joined. Then if a member is absent for 2 or more consecutive meetings of the committee without permission of the chairman, he may be discharged by the House or the Speaker as the case may be. So 2 meetings से ज़्यादा absent रहते हैं. Committee itself is very small one, 15 member का committee है. तो उसमें 2-3 दिन नहीं आया, then he can be relieved with the approval of the House. the sittings of the committee shall be held. Committee ka parliament chale na chale, these people can sit in the committee, can sit and do their work. The parliament is dissolved, then also the committee can function. So the committee may appoint one or more subcommittees. तो कमिटी खुद जो भी इनका काम दिया गया है उसको छोटा छोटा कमिटी बनाकर उनको दे सकते हैं, ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं. The sittings of the committee shall be held in private and generally within the precincts of the parliament house. That is, जब पार्लियामेंट का बिजनेस होता है इन लोग भी अपना काम कर सकते हैं, एंड ऑलवेज इट शुड बी हेल्ड विद इन द प्रिसिंक्ट्स ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट. कहीं पार्लियामेंट लाइब्रेरी में, कहीं और ये मीटिंग रूम में, ये साइमल्टेनियस. जब भी वोटिंग होता है उस समय these people are called from the committee for participating in what is called division, that is voting. Witnesses may be summoned by an order signed by the Secretary General. Committee किसी witness को बुलाना है तो that summon has to be signed by the Secretary General of that house. Second, and shall produce such documents as are required. सब जो भी document government का ministry का, कोई भी ministry का document चाहिए for consideration of the item on hand, तो उसको भी मंगवा सकते हैं. Nobody can say no. The evidence so tendered be treated secret and confidential. So suppose somebody appears and gives evidence, then that will be confidential till such time the report is made to the parliament. A parliamentary committee has powers to send for persons, papers and records. किसी को बुलवा सकते हैं, records को मंगवा सकते हैं, कोई papers को, copy को मंगवा सकते हैं. However, the government may decline to produce the document, safety or interest of the state, security of the state के नाम पर कोई मना भी कर सकते हैं. Yeah, parliamentary committee may make special reports even if such matter is beyond the terms of TOR, terms of reference से बाहर भी वो report कर सकते हैं. The committee may direct that the whole or a part of the evidence or summary thereof may be laid on the table of the house till such tabling it is kept confidential. Once table में लगा दिया गया है, then it is open. The committee may direct. No. When no time limit is fixed, the report of the committee is submitted within a period of 1 month. Part report may also be submitted. A report or part report is kept confidential till it is submitted to the House. A committee may make recommendations through resolutions, suggestions, as suggesting modifications in the rules of procedure. So the committee sometimes during the course of their business, they may come to know that there is some lacuna in the rules of procedure of the house that has to be modified. So here they can send a suggestion for that also. Prorogation of the house को खत्म कर दिया गया है, that is dissolved. Then prorogation of the house does not result in the dissolution of the committee, which can continue its business. वो अपना काम करते रहो, कर सकते हैं. So the rest of the things you please go through. Now, CCS pension rules. Please take out the notes. CCS pension rules. CCA rules, CCS pension rules, FRSR. ये तीनों के साथ आप एग्जाम लिख सकते हैं. Just these 3 rules. इसको अगर आप तरो हैं, you can get a pass. इसलिए pension rule is very important. Pension is one of the retirement benefits and is defined as stated allowance or stipend granted in consideration of past service. Pension is one of the retirement benefits और क्या क्या होता है? ग्रेच्युटी होता है, one of the retirement benefits. So pension is one of the retirement benefits and is defined as, तो कहां से निकाला इन लोग? That is from the judgments, Supreme Court judgments. Stated allowance ऐसा भी पेंशन का दूसरा नाम दिया हुआ है, और स्टाइपेंड ऐसा भी बोला जाता है. Granted in consideration of past service. What is a stipend in consideration of past service? Then in that context, it can be equivalent to, it can give the meaning of pension. Otherwise, stipend means something else. ट्रेनिंग पीरियड में जो पैसा मिलता है उसको स्टाइपेंड बोल. एजुकेशन का साइड में देन उनको पैसा मिलता है, दैट को भी स्टाइपेंड. बट हियर इन दिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट of, that is money given in consideration of past service, then it could be in these names also. Pension is a valuable right vested in the government servant. It's a right. हाँ, कोई जजमेंट में बोला है कि government servant, state government servant is continuing in office during the pleasure of the governor. But it is true that they are continuing at the pleasure of the governor, but not at the mercy of the governor. So ऐसा है. So pension is a valuable right vested in the government servant. Government servant valuable right है. That is a right. A government servant has the right to receive pension. We have got a right to receive pension. According to the Supreme Court, he can approach the court for issue of writ of mandamus. तो पब्लिक अथॉरिटी जब काम करने में फेल करता है, then we go to the court under Article 32 to the Supreme Court, asking them to issue a writ of mandamus to any public authority. Suppose my pension is not there, I am not getting my pension, I can go to Supreme Court asking for immediate action. Suppose I am working in Ministry of Personal Public Grievances and Pension, PPGP. उसमें मेरे को पेंशन टाइम से 2 months बिफोर रिटायरमेंट आई शुड गेट माय PPO, पेंशन पेमेंट ऑर्डर. अगर नहीं मिला, then I can go to the Supreme Court asking for issue of writ of mandamus. So it is give a direction to not less than a person than the secretary of DOPT. तो उनका orders, writ of mandamus will be issued in the name of secretary DOPT. तो इनका पेंशन दिया जाए. According to the Supreme Court, he can approach, an official can approach the court for issue of writ of mandamus for non-payment of pension. Devki Nandan Prasad versus State of Bihar. Following are the underlying principles governing the grant of pension. There should be a minimum qualifying service under the government. Specified minimum qualifying service must be there for pension, 10 years. Substantive appointment in any one rank, that is आपको किसी एक रैंक में कंफर्मेशन होना चाहिए. Must have entered service on or before 31/12/2003. That is for the purpose of CCS pension rules 2021. उसके लिए you should have entered service before 31/12/2003. Pension cannot be forfeited except for grave misconduct. पेंशन को फोरफिट कोई भी फोरफिट नहीं कर सकता है, बंद नहीं करवा सकता है, एक्सेप्ट फॉर ग्रेव मिसकॉन्डक्ट. ग्रेव मिसकॉन्डक्ट मतलब छोटा मोटा गलती के लिए पेंशन को फोरफिट नहीं कर सकता है. इट इज हीनियस क्राइम्स और क्राइम्स लाइक सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट टू वुमेन, डाउरी केसेस like that, then in the only in such cases it could be forfeited. Pension is secured against attachment or seizure in compliance of any decree of court. कोर्ट डिक्री में इतना पैसा इनसे रिकवर करना है, ऐसा ही एक डिक्री हुआ है. सो द नॉर्मल पर्सन से द प्रॉपर्टी इज अटैच्ड, ऐसा अटैच नहीं कर सकते हैं पेंशन को, बिकॉज इट इज नॉट ड्यू टू दैट इंडिविजुअल, इट इज ड्यू टू द फैमिली. इसलिए आप पेंशन को ऑटोमेटिक अटैचमेंट नहीं हो सकता है. No recovery could be made from pension without express consent. अगर एक कोर्ट के नो एक इंक्वायरी चल रहा है. There is an inquiry against me when I am in government service and I retire. Afterwards also the case continues. Once it is decided, the decision of the discipline authority is to impose penalty to recover the amount or loss caused to the government by the negligence of this official. ऐसा एक है. Then such recovery cannot be affected from my pension without my express consent. अगर मैं सहमति नहीं देता हूं, so it cannot be recovered from my this thing. Conditions for grant of pension. The day of retirement is treated as working day. The date of death is treated as working day. The day of resignation is also treated as working day. Day of death के बारे में एक क्वेश्चन था पहले, अभी नहीं, पहले एक क्वेश्चन था, that is a government servant died on 31st of August at 2:30 in the morning, early morning, 2:30 को मर गया. So that 31st of August is working day or not? Because he did not go to office. वो तो even before the office time starts, he died. So whether that day is working or not, whether it is before office time or after office time, the day of death, that 2:30 pertains to 31st August. Early morning ho, midnight ho. 2:30 pertains to this 31st August. So that date of death is working day. Then a government servant is not eligible for more than one pension on the strength of same continuous service. कोई retirement के बाद re-employment होता है. So there you may not have any claim for pension. Future conduct is an implied condition for grant and continuation of pension. So this pension rules, conduct of pensioner also counts. आप pensioner हो गया, I am not covered by any rule. No, you are covered by the rules even after you leave the service. तो इसलिए आप ये नहीं बोल सकता है, so अभी तो मैं बाहर आ गया, my pension has been sanctioned and I am scot free, I can do anything at will. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. Your behavior should be just like a government servant. Grave misconduct ho, then they can even forfeit your pension. Relinquishment of charge on a holiday. Suppose my date of retirement comes on 31st of August, that is a closed holiday. Then how do I hand over charge? Because it has to be handed over, the charge has to be handed over on the last day of work, whether it is a holiday or working day. उस दिन होना चाहिए. So 31st is a holiday. How will I hand over? It is not necessary that you should attend office. At the same time, you are going to be section officer tomorrow. At the same time, you should not get a charge report beforehand. Saturday, Sunday, छुट्टी है, and his retirement is on Sunday. So relinquishment of charge को हम Friday में sign कराएंगे. No, it should be dated. Sunday का date में होना चाहिए. You need not ask him to come to office on Sunday, but get it on Monday. वो जिंदा रहना चाहिए ना. ऐसा भी होता है, डेट ऑफ रिटायरमेंट में मर जाते हैं लोग, हैं? जो ऑफिस जाना एक नशा है. Some people, the very announcement that he is retiring tomorrow, इतना तो अंधाधुंध काम करते हैं. कभी आपको पता ही नहीं चलता है that fellow is retiring on the date, 31st of March. वो पता ही नहीं चलता है. ऐसा कुछ लोग हैं, तो रात दिन काम करते रहते हैं. इनका रिटायरमेंट का अनाउंसमेंट इटसेल्फ इज शॉकिंग. तो relinquishment of charge, इसलिए charge report has to be signed as on the date of retirement whether it is a holiday or working day. Suppose he has responsibility for cash, stores, valuables. So ऐसा case में everything has to be handed over. Those charges, that is handing over, taking over of cash, other materials, valuables, etc., that should be on working day. But relieving charge, I am I submit my relieving report. That is that report has to be charge report. Charge report has to be signed only as on the date of retirement. The government servant retiring on superannuation should formally relinquish charge of office on the afternoon of that day itself, even if it happens to be a closed holiday. The cash, stores, etc. may be made over by the retiring officer on the close of previous working day. The actual relinquishment of charge of office shall be made on the last day of service, for which the physical presence of the officer in office need not be insisted. उसको दफ्तर हॉलिडे में दफ्तर नहीं बुलाना. Then powers to withdraw or withhold pension. Simple. प्रेसिडेंट का अलावा किसी को भी पावर नहीं है. Now they have relaxed, I think. The president for all the the president in the case of pensioners for whom the president is the appointing authority. For whatever for ASOs also, president is the appointing authority. For whoever president is the appointing authority, then only he can withhold pension. President, in the case of a pensioner for whom the president is the appointing authority, and the secretary of the ministry or department concerned, in the case of pensioners for whom an authority subordinate to the president is the appointing authority, may withdraw or withhold pension or gratuity or both, either in full or part thereof, either permanently or for a specified period. When part of pension is reduced, it should not be reduced below the minimum pension 9,000. पेंशन को कम किया जाता है, किसी कारण से कम किया जाता है, रिकवरी विथ परमिशन विथ ऑर्डर्स रिकवर किया जाता है और रिड्यूस किया जाता है किसी कारण से, that cannot be the minimum 9,000 rupees plus DA. That should be available to the pensioner minimum. तो उससे कम नहीं हो सकता है. The president may also order recovery from pension or gratuity of the whole or part of any pecuniary loss caused to the government if in any departmental or judicial proceedings of the pensioner is found guilty of grave misconduct or negligence during the period of his service, including during re-employment after retirement. कभी भी आपका against एक case चलाया जाता है and that is decided. It is possible at the time of your retirement, a case may be going on. Whose purpose to enable you to face the case, your service will not be extended. So after retirement also case will be going on and you will be paid provisional pension. You will not be sent without pension. तो ऐसा है. Then तब भी recovery can be ordered only only by the authority. No appeal shall lie against the order of the president. अगर president साहब का order हो गया, then इसको ऊपर कोई और नहीं होता है, इसलिए there is no appeal against the order of the president. In the case of orders passed by any authority other than the president, appeal shall lie with the president. Suppose कोई और authority order करता है, then you can make an appeal to the president. Commercial employment immediately after retirement. What is commercial employment? वो कोई कंसल्टेंट करके एंगेज करते हैं प्राइवेट कंपनीज, या फॉर्मर गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉइज को इन लोग ले लेते हैं। तो ऐसा विद इन द एरिया ऑफ द जूरिस्डिक्शन, रिटायरमेंट के बाद वो उसका जूरिस्डिक्शन बिफोर रिटायरमेंट कौन सा एरिया में था, दैट यू कैनॉट, इफ यू आर ए ग्रुप ए ऑफिसर, यू कैनॉट विद इन 1 year accept any such thing. If a pensioner who was Group A officer before retirement should not accept any commercial employment within 1 year from the date of his retirement without previous sanction of the government. Sanction लेकर आप accept कर सकते हैं. Without sanction, you cannot accept. If he takes up such commercial employment without previous sanction or commits breach of any conditions attached to such permission, if granted, it shall be competent for the government to declare that he is not eligible for the whole or part of the pension, either permanently or for a specified period, after providing reasonable opportunity to explain his stand. So, without permission from the government, you cannot accept a job. If you were a Group A officer, within 1 year, you cannot accept any commercial employment within 1 year. Suppose you seek permission, that is granted, then you can do it. Then while granting permission, the government puts some conditions subject to these. So if you violate, then also this penal action can be taken. Employment under a foreign government. Pensioners retired from Group A service should not accept any employment under any government outside India without prior sanction of the government of India. रिटायर होने के बाद ग्रुप ए सर्विस में जो हैं वो रिटायर होते हैं, तब फॉरेन गवर्नमेंट का एम्प्लॉयमेंट ये नहीं ले सकते हैं. इफ सच एम्प्लॉयमेंट इज एक्सेप्टेड विदाउट परमिशन, नो पेंशन इज पेएबल during the period of such employment or for a longer period as ordered by the government. आप without permission you accept any employment under any foreign government, then your pension may be stopped. If any employment is taken with the prior sanction during the leave preparatory, LPR ऐसा बोला जाता है, leave preparatory to retirement, that is there is no separate kind of leave called LPR. EL, HPL वगैरह you can take 10 months prior to your retirement. तो आप एनकैश भी कर सकते हैं या यू कैन अवेल द लीव. ऐसा लीव अवेल करने से प्रायर टू योर रिटायरमेंट, दैट इज कॉल्ड लीव प्रिपरेटरी टू रिटायरमेंट, LPR. इट इज नॉट अ सेपरेट काइंड ऑफ लीव, इट इज द लीव EL यू आर टेकिंग एज LPR. सो ऐसा समय आप परमिशन ले चुके हैं फॉर accepting any employment from a foreign government, then in that case you can, there is no separate permission required after retirement इसको avail करने के लिए. If any employment is taken with prior sanction during the leave preparatory to retirement, no further permission is required for continuance after retirement. The request of a pensioner for permission to accept employment under government outside India shall be considered in accordance with the transaction of business rules and instruction of government from time to time. Kinds of pension. Pensions are of two kinds. One is ordinary pension, the other one is extraordinary pension. Both have separate rules. Ordinary pension is of 7 categories, namely superannuation pension. Mostly our rule, this pension rule 2021. This we are concerned about superannuation pension mostly. Superannuation pension, then retiring pension, which is further subdivided under voluntary retirement pension, premature retirement pension, absorption pension. Thereafter, third category is invalid pension. Fourth, compulsory retirement pension. 6, compassionate allowance. 7, family pension. Now, superannuation pension. Superannuation pension is granted to a government servant retiring on attaining the age of superannuation. एज ऑफ सुपरएनुएशन 60 साल का होता है. The age of superannuation is 60 years with effect from 13/5/98 for all civilian employees and all military officers in civil employment. Government servant shall superannuate from service on the last day of the month in which his date of birth occurs. If date of birth is first of the month, the official will retire on the last day of previous month. Glaring example, myself and my friend. My friend date of birth was 2nd March. My date of birth, official record mein, my date of birth is 1st March. Whereas my friend retired on 31st of March. I retired on 29th of February. That is the rule. If your date of birth occurs any day from 2nd onwards, then your retirement will be on the last day of the month. If it is on the first day of the month, then you will retire the previous, the last working day, last day of previous month. Then retiring pension. Retiring pension is of the following kinds: voluntary retirement pension, premature retirement pension, absorption pension. Voluntary retirement pension, these are all definitions. Elaboration बाद में आता है. A retiring pension or retiring service gratuity, as the case may be, shall be granted in accordance with Rule 44 to a government servant. A, who retires on his own volition before attaining the age of superannuation in accordance with the provisions of Rule 43 of this rule or Rule 56 of the fundamental rules, or who on being declared surplus opts for voluntary retirement in accordance with provisions of special voluntary retirement scheme for surplus employees notified by the Department of Personnel. एक तो अपने आप before retirement age is attained, you are going out. That is one. That is the details. that is 20 साल के बाद आप कभी भी आप रिटायरमेंट ले सकते हैं, वॉलंटरी रिटायरमेंट. तो दैट इज वन. नंबर 2, बजट में कभी कभी अनाउंस होता है और स्पेशल वॉलंटरी रिटायरमेंट स्कीम अनाउंस होता है. उस केस में यू कैन ऑफर टू गो. दैट इज ऑल्सो वॉलंटरी रिटायरमेंट. और a permanent government servant who on being declared surplus to the establishment in which he was serving opts for special voluntary retirement scheme. परमानेंट गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट है, ये सरप्लस डिक्लेयर किया गया है, देन ही इज गोइंग आस्किंग फॉर वॉलंटरी रिटायरमेंट. in that case, it is special. It is not a routine voluntary retirement. On special situation, the post is abolished, surplus declare hua, then in that case you are entitled for a lump sum amount in addition to what is a routine benefit for voluntary retirement. Then premature retirement pension, that it is paid to those who is retired by government before attaining the age of superannuation in accordance with the provisions of 42 of these rules or 56 of FR. That is, one is voluntary retirement. That is, you yourself on your own volition, you are going out of service. कोई कंपल नहीं कर रहा है. So in fact, if you give notice for voluntary retirement, the orders say that you should be called by the head of office and counseling has to be given. बेटा क्यों छोड़ रहे हो? Why do you leave the job? The peacefully करो. ऐसा करके काउंसलिंग करके उसको कंटिन्यू करना चाहिए. That is one thing. Number 2, premature retirement. Suppose government don't want. Government ऐसा, they want to remove all those dead weights. So they may remove any employee on completion of certain number of years. So after giving proper notice. तो ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं. दोनों में पेंशन मिलेगा. If you go on voluntary retirement on your own, then also you will get pension. Then they are sending out, then also you will get pension. Absorption pension. It is granted to those who get absorbed, get absorbed in other organizations. Now, details about voluntary retirement. Retirement on completion of 20 years of qualifying service. Each and every word is important. Retirement on completion of 20 years. 20 years of what service? Qualifying service. Any government servant, any government servant, after completion of 20 years of qualifying service. Qualifying service means what? There are two components for sanction of pension. One is qualifying service, the other one is emoluments. That is, what is the service which is treated as service for the purpose of grant of pension? That is qualifying service. The service which is counted for grant of pension, that is qualifying service. Then likewise, the emoluments that are reckoned for calculating pension, that is your emoluments. Retirement on completion of 20 years of qualifying. Any government servant, after completion of 20 years of qualifying service, may, by giving notice of not less than 3 months, notice period bhi yaad rakhna hai, that is not less than 3 months, that is more than 3 months you can give. It should not be less than 3 months. That is, you are supposed to give notice of not less than 3 months in writing to the appointing authority. Which authority you have to give it to? The appointing authority. Retire from service, and in case, in the case of such retirement, he shall be entitled to a retiring pension calculated in accordance with 44, Rule 44. The notice for voluntary retirement shall require acceptance by appointing authority, because B Sol may, you are not generally eligible. This is voluntarily you are leaving. So this requires acceptance by appointing authority. Where the appointing authority does not refuse before expiry of the notice period, the retirement shall become effective from the date of expiry of such period. 3 महीना का नोटिस देते हैं, बट 3 महीना तक वो अपॉइंटिंग अथॉरिटी उसके ऊपर सोते रहता है. Then in that case, 3 महीना तक परमिशन नहीं मिला है, then automatically it is treated that you have been permitted to go on voluntary retirement. Then, before giving notice of voluntary retirement, a government servant shall request the appropriate administrative authority for a certificate regarding completion of qualifying service of 20 years on the intended date of retirement, and the administrative authority shall issue the required certificate within 15 days of such a request by the government servant. अगर एक आदमी वॉलंटरी रिटायरमेंट में जाना चाहता है, अपने आप नौकरी छोड़ना चाहता है, then he has to give a notice in advance. The notice 3 months in 3 months notice. Yes, from today it will be counted 3 months. So 3 months notice has to be given to the appointing authority. ऐसा नोटिस देने से पहले one thing he has to do, the person who is seeking voluntary, he has to request appropriate administrative authority to intimate that he has already put in 20 years of service. मैं कुछ भी लिख के दे सकता हूँ, that is without knowing what is my qualifying service, the 20 years कैसा गिना जाएगा ये पता नहीं है. So I have to, the authority who is going to accept my notice also should know that I have actually completed 20 years of qualifying service. Mayor said, I give a notice stating that I have completed 20 years of service, and I am giving notice of 3 months from today onwards. So for voluntary retirement, I may be allowed to go with all the pension benefits as per Rule 44. ऐसा कुछ लिख के देता हूँ. That should not automatically be accepted. because it has to be ensured that I have already completed this qualifying service 20 years. इसको कंफर्म करने के लिए the responsibility they are putting it on you. आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव प्रॉपर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव अथॉरिटी से आप लिखित रूप से ले लीजिए that I have completed 20 years of qualifying service. Thereafter, you give notice. Suppose that is not forthcoming within 15 days. आज रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं I intend going on voluntary retirement. Please give me a service certificate. मैं 20 साल इधर नौकरी किया है, which is eligible qualifying service I have completed. तो इसका एक सर्टिफिकेट दिया जाए. Then within 15 days the authority is expected to give that certificate. अगर नहीं देता है, if no such certificate is issued within the prescribed period, the government servant may give notice of voluntary retirement without that certificate. Certificate के बिना आप voluntary retirement का notice दे सकते हैं. But the responsibility now shifts to the appointing authority. हाँ तो ट्राई किया, नहीं मिला, आप विदाउट दैट सर्टिफिकेट you are giving the notice. It is now the responsibility of the appointing authority. Before accepting the notice for voluntary retirement, the appointing authority shall satisfy itself that the government servant has completed qualifying service of 20 years. ये कुछ चीज इधर लिखा हुआ है, that will not be clear now. Anyway, we'll go that. The rule of treating fraction of a year equal to 3 months and above as a completed 6-monthly period shall not be applicable for the purpose of determining qualifying service under this rule. ये क्या है? This rule, what they have quoted here is, वो rule इधर applicable नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ बोलते हैं. What is that वो rule? That is for the calculation of gratuity. Yeah, it is not completed years, completed number of years. नहीं है. How they are calculating? They will calculate as completed 6-monthly period. Completed 6 months. Suppose somebody has put in 20 years of service. For the purpose of calculation of gratuity, they will treat it is not completion of 20 years, but completed 6-monthly period. Kitna? 40. Complete 40 completed 6-monthly period. ऐसा माना जाएगा. For this calculation, a person who has, suppose it is a routine, it is a normal retirement. He has put in 30 years of service. He is retiring. So 60 months, 60 completed 6-monthly period. For calculating this, suppose one person has put in 29 years and 9 months. इसका मतलब he has not completed 30 years, but he has completed 29 years and 9 months. Then it should be rounded to the full year. That is 30 years complete हो गया. Suppose somebody has put in only 29 years and 3 months. In that case, it will be treated as 29 into 2, kitna aata hai? 58, plus 1 full year. This 3 months of service will be treated as half year, 1 completed 6-monthly period. Aisa mana jayega. This is for the purpose of gratuity calculation. Yes, I'll tell you. So, yeah, that rule of rounding off, that will not be applicable in the case of for calculating this qualifying service for voluntary retirement. That is what they are telling. Then declared surplus, that is कोई डिपार्टमेंट बंद हो जाता है, कुछ पोस्ट अबॉलिश हो जाता है, then you are declared, suppose I am occupying a post that is declared for administrative reasons, so that is abolished. Some permanent post are abolished, or entire department is closed, जैसे D, G, S and D. तो ऐसा कुछ होता है, then what will happen to the government servants, permanent government servants? They have to be declared surplus. Surplus डिक्लेयर करने के बाद देयर इज ए सरप्लस सेल, उसमें आपको दिखाया जाएगा यू आर शोन अगेंस्ट सरप्लस सेल, क्विकली दे हैव टू फाइंड सम प्लेसमेंट फॉर यू, कहीं और आपको एक जगह देना चाहिए सरकार में. So that is declaring surplus. Okay. Good night. We'll meet on Monday.